I think riding a motorcycle is all about freedom. That's what a lot of people don't get. People that don't like motorcycles or don't want to ride one, they don't understand how free you are riding a motorcycle.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jake from Prism Supply. Welcome to our series, My Garage. In this episode, we're in Dallas, Texas, featuring my friend Jeff Milburn. Jeff is a collector of all things 60s, vintage cars, vintage motorcycles, tools, signs. He's a stuntman, he's a race car driver, professional mechanic, fabricator. The list goes on and on. I don't know where to stop. I'm excited to see your space.
I'm excited to have you.
So Jeff, we haven't even stepped foot inside, and the exterior of the building looks incredible. It looks like a movie set. Where do you find that inspiration from?
Probably old photographs and things from the 60s, definitely.
So this is your 67 Dodge van?
Yes, sir.
That thing's killer, and you built that?
Yes, it was. It belonged to the motorcycle shop that I worked at in the 80s.
And the name of the shop was?
Was Satan Cycles. Yeah,
No way.
it was the shops, and Ed passed away in 2014, and I went up to DC and I got the van. It was in pretty rough shape because it had been sitting outside.
And now it's all it's perfectly maintained and well kept.
Oh, it's very well kept. I don't let it out of my sight. It was a lot of work to get it there, that's for sure, because it was a mess. It was a rotten mess. Between everywhere I go, everybody's waving, everybody loves it. I mean, it gets so much attention, but it's all positive. And the fact that it belonged to the motorcycle shop I worked at,
Yeah.
Go ahead and open it up.
Very period correct.
Very. There's nothing on this that you couldn't buy in 1967, definitely. I pride myself in that. Most all my vehicles are very period correct. And the design on the side, I'd seen some 60s wallpaper, and I really liked it.
Did you live straight out of the 60s? Look at you.
Well,
you're a 60s hot rodder.
I appreciate that. I'm going to take that as a big compliment.
Yeah,
I really do.
You should. You should.
I like that aesthetic, that early 60s through the, I mean, my newest car that I own is 1970 pretty much, so.
Why is that? Why don't you have a new vehicle?
Because they're not cool.
Agreed.
No, I like to take my world with me everywhere I go.
Yeah. All right, so we're in your outside little courtyard area, which is incredible.
Thank you.
And inside you have a shop, as well as upstairs you live above that.
This is my house. We're standing in the courtyard of my house. This is where I live. When I'm not off working on a car commercial, I try to spend as much time in this building as possible.
Let's go check it out.
Let's do it.
Inside the shop.
The dog will get you.
Yeah, that's true.
She's a sweetheart. Come on in.
All right, so now we're inside. You have a lot going on in here. This is a big space. You have a full downstairs area. Looks like more of like a mechanic shop up front. You got some bike storage in the back. You got a full fab shop, a paint booth.
Right.
And you live upstairs.
I live up there.
And everything's incredibly organized.
Well, that takes an effort too. But
is it true that the floor gets mopped at least once a day?
It is true the floor gets mopped once a day. Yes. Cleanliness is next to godliness is what I heard when I was in high school. If it's clean, it's easier to work in.
You have an incredible collection of motorcycles.
Thank you.
What is it that you do for a living?
I'm a stunt driver. I drive cars and motorcycles and trucks on camera.
Do you think that's like every kid's dream?
I think so. I've been told that. I didn't even know there was such a job as that. When I was a kid, I just wanted to ride my motorcycle and stuff and go to the racetrack. But it is a cool job. It is a job, though. It isn't like you get to go out and have fun. It's more fun when my friends and I go to the racetrack.
Right. So what is that like? What's a day in the life of a stuntman like?
It depends if you're on a car commercial or if you're on a TV show or movie. They're totally different days for sure. Car commercials, everything has to be filmed in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 days, so everything's very fast paced.
What's your favorite thing you've ever done for your job?
I'd say Ford versus Ferrari, because it was a period piece, and I felt like I went back in time and was playing myself.
Like, how do you even find this stuff?
It's funny, people that know that I like these style of signs, they call me up and say, hey, there's one over in New York, they've come from all over the country. All these signs have come from different swap meets and stuff. And I go look for these damn signs. Some of them I really love.
Do you have a favorite one?
Favorite sign in the building is probably the auto light one.
I like all like the clickiness.
I like the clickiness. In fact,
it's very zen.
I've had some people say, well, we'll put modern things in your sign to fix it when they've gone bad, because I have a couple guys that go, no way, I want the original clicker.
So is it just like a relay in there that's doing that?
It's funny. It's a little drum that has little teeth on it. So as it goes and catches the teeth, and they can put the drum where it's all in line, so it goes on and off at the same time, or they can change them all, so they can come randomly, or they can go in sequence. So they're little drums that just spin around and
make contact.
It's very cool, actually. I really dig that. And the buzz of the real neon transformers, because the original neon transformers have a buzz to them.
How'd you get into Harley-Davidson? What's your story like?
Aren't Harleys the coolest thing made?
I mean, I think so.
Yeah. Of course, my first motorcycle was not a Harley-Davidson. I started riding dirt bikes way before, like junior high. Then a year or two later, my stepdad I think he didn't want to deal with getting me to school, so we went in some Yamaha dealer, and I mean, it was during the summer because I wasn't in school. It was a little place. And they pointed at this, it was a DT100, a Yamaha DT100, which are a two-stroke, and it's an enduro. So my stepdad was like, that's how you're getting to school. I was in Odessa. I remember a police officer pulled me over, and he's like, all right, I know you're not old enough to ride this thing. What's your dad's name and number? I'm gonna call him and make sure he knows you're on this motorcycle. And I told him, he's the one that bought it for me to get to school. And he's like, all right, I'm just gonna call him and make sure this is cool. Let me go. So I rode that little DT100 to school. When I was 12, 13 years old or so.
Crazy.
Yeah, of course, when you're a kid, every motorcycle is cool, right? I don't know, when you were a kid, every motorcycle was cool. As I got towards high school age, I started listening to the new music at the time, which was the Stray Cats. And then I started realizing, wait, this stuff all has this cool feel and look to it. So you start diving a little more into that. And the guys in the Stray Cats rode big old looking Harley-Davidsons, and I had seen all these pictures of Elvis riding these giant motorcycles, and I mean, Elvis is pretty cool, you know? Like how has he not got the coolest thing in the world? So you know that's got to be the coolest thing. So, and somewhere along the line, I dug up enough money. By the time I was a mechanic in a dealership, I dug up enough money to buy a Sportster, which I still have. I bought the Sportster, but what I really wanted was a big bike. You know, I wanted an FLH.
Big twin. Yeah.
What I ended up finding was what became this bike. Back then you had to look in the paper, open it up, and you'd read down to the motorcycles and they'd be in year order, oldest to newest. So you'd look at the first line, what is on there for sale? And I made the deal with the guy and I bought it. For every dollar in the world, I wouldn't sell this motorcycle. This was my first big twin bike. I've ridden this bike all over the country.
I remember my first shovelhead was a 77 shovelhead. That was my first Harley, actually. But I went from Honda's Japanese bikes to a 77 shovelhead, and I just remember like the experience that gave me. Like the engine wasn't wound out. Like I could just cruise down the interstate or at 60 miles per hour anywhere I wanted to go. Felt like I could just like ride across the country, and it opened up this freedom for me that other motorcycles didn't offer.
I think riding a motorcycle is all about freedom. That's what a lot of people don't get. People that don't like motorcycles or don't want to ride one, they don't understand how free you are riding a motorcycle.
What kind of advice would you give somebody that wants to either be in the stunt movie industry or just a collector of antiques or mechanic?
I might give all three people a little different advice. How about this one? I'm pretty sure it was the guy that owned Satan Cycles told me when I was about 19 or 20 that no matter what you do, whether it's making pasta or making love, do it with all your heart.
That's so good.
Some good advice, I think. I try to live by that.
Just work hard at everything you do.
Yeah, just put everything you got into it.
I can't remember the exact words that you said then when I first called you, but you're like, my garage is everything and nothing else matters. Like,
to me, it is the shop. It's everything starts there, and without the foundation of this place, I don't go anywhere else. It's like that's the most important thing. Then I worry about the next thing and the next thing, and this is my stability. It has to just.
This is your life right here.
This is it. This is everything.
That's it for this episode of My Garage. Jeff, thank you so much for opening up your space to us. Your space is absolutely incredible, and it's just filled with so much 60s stuff. I felt like I just walked off of a movie set from the 60s. Thank you for showing us that. Where can we find out more about you?
Well, I do have a website. It's jeff-milburn.com. I do have an Instagram, but I don't look at it very much, but there's pictures on there.
So find him on his website.
Yeah.
Jeff, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's go ride some motorcycles.
Let's do it.